We saw the champions, we saw the bands, we saw the cheerleaders, we saw the fans. They say on any given Saturday it's possible to win. So let's talk about the season from the start to the end. We saw the champions, we saw the bands, we saw the cheerleaders, we saw the fans. They say on any given Saturday it's possible to win. So let's talk about the season from the start to the end.
Hey everyone, homecoming season in full swing. Are you guys okay? I mean, you aren't as young as you once were, so hopefully you survived the weekend and you'll make it to work on Monday. This weekend we celebrated homecomings in Mississippi, in the DMV, Houston, Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida, and everywhere in between. Welcome to the No Huddle, everyone. I'm Tolly Carr. But let's go back to week 6 now. Divisional matchups in the SWAC, cross-divisional rivalries in the CIAA. Let's just flip a coin to see where we start, a proverbial coin, because I don't have one. All right, it's tails. Let's go to Montgomery, Alabama. If you want to win the SWAC East, you have to put boots to Alcorn State because they're going to be there year in and year out. Alabama State had their chance last weekend. The first winner of the weekend was the rain because it came in droves just before kickoff. The stadium was evacuated after lightning strikes in the area. It was 4 hours later before we kicked off, so welcome to the night game. Alcorn State brought their own storm. First offensive possession of the game, Kadari Davis picked off by Solomon Muhammad and Felix Harper. He's going to cash in and finds the Charles Pringle, Alcorn up 7-0. The Braves not having it at all in the run game. B.J. Jones discovered something that Alcorn State was doing to stymie Alabama State.
In the first half, Alabama State had exactly 0 yards rush. What Alcorn was doing, they were shifting their defensive line to the stronger side of the formation. And lo and behold, Alabama State ran to the stronger side of the formation. They actually shifted everyone to the strong side of the formation. And Alabama State never countered, never went opposite side of the formations.
Rushing, not a problem for Jones. Harper finds the middle of the field wide open. I mean, wide as all outdoors. 14-0 Alcorn. In the second quarter, the Braves put up 2 more touchdowns. Felix Harper looking comfortable as he continues to fill in for the injured Noah Johnson. Harper connects with Nigel Wood here for an 18-yard touchdown pass. Then the freshman, Nico Duffy, he busts off a 67-yard run. I caught about 30 of them, but no one caught Duffy. 28-0 Alcorn State at the break. The Sounds of Dynamite had a long day. They performed at halftime and then decided it was time to roll out and get back home. There will be no 5th quarter. Alabama State showing some signs of life in the third. Davis to Michael Jefferson. He's moving on up with a 29-yard touchdown. But the fire was snuffed out on a 4th and goal opportunity here. Hornets trying to gain some momentum, but instead it's one of 4 interceptions on the night. Muhammad with his 2nd interception in the ballgame. And Alcorn State handles business in the SWAC East. A road victory, and they remain unbeaten in conference play.
We talk about it with our guys through the course of the week. This was a big game for us. All the games are big, but this was one that we really needed to win, and I thought they responded well to it. So, we take one at a time. We got 2 weeks to prepare, get ready for a good Savannah State football team coming in next week, and then we have an opening. Thank God for that opening because we need it before we play Southern.
Let's head up to the East Coast. A couple of big games in the state of North Carolina. Last weekend, we had Bowie State visiting Winston-Salem State, Livingstone hosting Virginia Union. Wally Pitt was there for that and then some.
Salisbury, North Carolina.
It's going to be a show tonight, what?
The birthplace of black college football. The Livingstone College Blue Bears, 4-0 and suddenly CIAA South contenders. Down from VA, the Rough Riders from Richmond, aka the Virginia Union Panthers. Ready to put all that LC contender talk to the test.
We here, baby. We here.
And Livingstone seemed ready to put the CI on notice and let everybody know that the Blue Bears were for real, for real. And then the game started and Virginia Union turned that LC carriage back into a pumpkin. Tobias Strictly Business Taylor getting things going early. He bangs this one in from 2 yards out. Bruh not lying either. Still in the first, Khalid Morris, Charles Hall doing what they do, going deep for 6, a 38-yard touchdown, and it's 14-0 Union. Second quarter, and we can go ahead and just run that back. Khalid Morris, Charles Hall, this one for 48 yards, another score, and another Charles Hall touchdown celebration. Let's make it 21-0 Panthers. Now it would be time to pass the sticks, but this ain't a game, and Union ain't out here playing. Khalid Morris looking for 3 of them things. This time he finds Hakeem Holland, who gets low for the touchdown grab. Union rolling 31-0 at halftime. On to the third quarter, Khalid Morris, Desmond Smith, an 11-yard score. Khalid Morris's 4th touchdown of the day, and Union takes Livingstone behind their own woodshed with the 44-0 mollywop. And y'all know how I do. When you get the dub, you get to pop off a little something and talk that talk.
4-0? They 4-2 now. Shot it up. Ride the bus. Y'all see that run, though? 9 back, baby. Best team in the nation. Let y'all understand, best team in the nation. Yeah, you heard it. Defense shutout. You heard it. See y'all in the championship.
Bowman Gray Stadium, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, as Bowie State wins at 23-13. Our Coca-Cola game summary looks like this.
It looks like this. Murchison goes in on the early drive. They're pounding, grounding, gets in the end zone. The Rams, seeing red, are up 7-0. Everybody's excited. This was a nice play. Find Williams in the crowd, breaks through a couple of tackles, but a funny thing happened on the way to the 14th point. The PAT is blocked, and that gave Bowie State some momentum. A very impressive drive goes by Johnson. 23 yards later, 7 plays, 72 yards. He dives in the end zone. It's 13-9 at halftime. Then we move to the fourth quarter. The nice little slant route. Touchdown, Bowie State. That's David Deshawn. And then the game breaker, the deal closer, whatever you want to call it, was this interception with a few seconds left. Tevin Singleton, his first interception of the day, 3rd of the afternoon, goes in the end zone, and Bowie State rocking and rolling.
Bowie State rocks and rolls its way to a 23-13 victory. That is your Coca-Cola game summary from Winston-Salem.
When we come back, we'll talk the latest on Howard University and the MEAC. It's all coming up next, right here on the No Huddle. Stick around. Welcome back, everyone. North Carolina A&T continues to play the role of who's your daddy in the MEAC, but the news cycle has been on Howard University the last couple of weeks. First was the news of quarterback Kalen Newton transferring along with 3 of his teammates all in the same week a couple of weeks ago. Then HBCU Game Day, we reported that a set of parents wrote a letter to Howard University and other media outlets in the D.C. area alleging verbal abuse and intimidation by head coach Ron Prince. Now, Howard University in turn issued a statement to us at HBCU Game Day saying in part that they are taking swift action to understand and investigate the allegations pertaining to the treatment of student athletes on the football team. Well, people had a lot of comments and things to say on social media naturally, and it was a big conversation piece on the HBCU Game Day podcast. This is the HBCU Game Day podcast. There's been a lot of conversation happening online. So, some allegations against Ron Prince, the head football coach at Howard University. Take everyone back. Let's take them behind the curtain.
Before the news broke that Kalen Newton would be transferring out of Howard, this account tweeted it. And then the next day, the reports came out. So I definitely reached out, got on the phone with someone. He remains anonymous with me. I don't even know his actual name. But he, proceeded to, in the morning before I went to a football game, proceeded to give me a 30-minute conversation during breakfast about, the things that were going on. Connected with a couple parents. They all shared their stories, and there's a lot to take in this situation, and this just added to it. So try to get a couple of parents to come on and give their names. But, at the end of the day, I understand because their sons, at least the ones that I talk to, are still on the team. And they don't want, they fear retaliation.
And our actual report was centered around the fact that parents At
Right.
least one set of parents had written a letter that they wrote to Howard,
Right.
to the university, to the board of trustees, to local media.
They said they're going to look into it. I mean, the question is, hey, I mean, this parent that I talked to said they sent the letter September 5th. It is now October 4th. There are some people that say, hey, yeah, this is serious. They need to take a look at action, what's going on. And then there's a large portion of people who, as soon as they heard the story,
The back when I played crowd.
Yeah, the back when I played cloud, or whatever you want to call it, that crowd has been heavy in the Facebook comments, and sometimes even on Twitter as well. I'll just read some of the comments. Memo to parents of D1 athletes. It's a part of the scholarship. Get over it and let the coach coach. Do your homework during the recruitment process and avoid coaches and coaching styles that you have a problem with. There are at least 51 players on this team whose mama hasn't been offended. Mama, get over it and find another school.
There was a lot to look forward to this season, and there still could be. There was the renewal of Howard and A&T. There was Kayla Newton going to go to the Celebration Bowl, lead his team. There was the Howard and the Harvard, and a lot of that has gotten lost here in the opening month of the season. But it appears that there's maybe a lot of gray area happening right now in D.C. The HBCU Game Day podcast is available wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Just go to hbcugameday.com for links and more information, and we'll take care of you there. Now, back to the Aggies in the MEAC. They are off this weekend, but a huge 2-week stretch is coming up on the horizon. Next weekend, A&T visits FAMU in Tallahassee. Aggies and the Rattlers, they are 1-2 in total offense in the MEAC, but A&T has a slight edge defensively, but FAMU has the home field advantage for this game coming up. Should be a real headbanger. Still to come on the show, Virginia Union might have devastated Livingstone on the football field, but the band battle had nothing to do with any of that. 2 separate games there. We're going back to Salisbury when we return here on the No Huddle. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Tolly Carr. I was in Montgomery, Alabama last weekend, and the sounds of dynamite made the 6-hour or so haul down to Alabama, and they were sounding good, looking good, and even got a little creative at halftime. Now, we all love the Honeybees from Alabama State. They are not to be messed with, but Alcorn State decided to, flatter the Bees a little bit with a little imitation. Check it out. All in good fun, I would say. That's why we love HBCU bands, and the bigger, the better, right? I mean, there's the Jukebox, the Marching 100, the World Fame, Sonic Boom. These are our iconic cornerstones of the band world. But when you go down to Division II, NAIA, it's a numbers game. Not everyone can put out the same amount of troops on the field, but as Wally Pitt shows us, small bands matter too.
There's few things we love more than HBCU bands. And while we can't get enough of the big name black college bands like the Human Jukebox and Marching 100, sometimes we forget to show love to the small bands out here in HBCU land. Though small in numbers, these bands can pack a big sound and give us a unique energy that sometimes gets lost in the large sections of those bigger bands. And that energy was on full display during Virginia Union's trip to Salisbury, North Carolina to play Livingstone College. And after hearing from both bands in the stands and on the field at halftime, I realized there was more to the quality of a band than just their size and decibel level.
My name is Facia Tony Cousins. I am the Director of Bands at Virginia Union University. One of the things that's really hard about having a small band is that when you have to convince the band that even though they're small in size, they're big in talent and that they can still compete against anybody with quality. It's absolutely amazing when it actually clicks in their head. I can give them anything, I can put anything in front of them, but it's always just a process getting to that point because you always have intimidation with numbers or intimidation with size, what have you. And so, just because a band sounds bigger across the field from you doesn't mean that they're cleaner, doesn't mean that they're more talented. It just means they have more people.
My name is Anthony Jones. I'm the director of bands here at Livingstone College. We can actually give more individual attention to a student as far as what they're playing, as opposed to them falling in the cracks. When you got a band, you got 40 trumpets, there are times and opportunities for a kid to hide, or if you got 40 baritones or 30 baritones, they can kind of hide and get away with stuff, and we depend on the bulk of it. But with the kids that we have here, we depend on everybody, so we have to give them that special attention.
My name is Nathan James. I am the head drum major for the 2019-2020 academic school year. We are able to learn a lot of music in a short bit of time. We don't necessarily have horn holders. Some people may say some bands have horn holders, but I know for a fact that we all had to learn our music, all had to learn our part in order to create the performance or the actual show that we actually have.
My name is Maurice Kimball. I am a senior drum major. One of the disadvantages is being overpowered by a larger band, but our energy and aggression can make up for all of that as well. That's a huge advantage about this band. We have a lot of energy and we have a lot of aggression.
My name is Diamond McGee. I am currently acting as Miss Steele for the 2019-2020 academic school year. I'm the first female drum major here at the Ambassador and Sound Marching Band. So it's really huge, but it's like, I'm just one of the guys. I enjoy being a drum major of a smaller band. Just imagine like dealing with 400 personalities a day. I couldn't do it, I don't know.
And while the game on the field was a blowout, the band battle in the stands was an instant classic.
We gon' show you how to be you. Let's get down.
Say what?
And it was all in good fun until the band from Virginia crossed the line and played a North Carolina anthem, prompting both squads to have it out note for note, until an epic counter from the Ambassador Sound of Marching Band ended it all. Both Union and Livingstone brought the smoke, the jokes, and the notes, and reminded everyone in attendance why small bands do matter.
Just because we're small does not mean we won't blow you out, whoever you are that's watching this.
And no matter what the bougie big band crowd has to say, I need all my small bands to stay hater-proof and know that pound for pound, them big bands might just drown in the sound of a small in numbers HBCU band.
We'll finish out the show with some news a little bigger than the game. You'll see a lot of pink and purple in the stands and on the field during the month of October. We'll tell you what that is all about coming up next, right here on the No Huddle. Welcome back, everyone. October is probably best known for the beginning of homecoming season in the Black college football universe, we'll call it, but there's more going on out there this month. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, along with Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Hence, you see a lot of pink and purple representing those two causes. Administrators at HBCUs across the country are doing their best to spread awareness of these two very important topics.
Yeah, so for about 2 years ago, we undertook a massive commitment to recognizing breast cancer survivors as well as thrivers and those who unfortunately lost their battle with the illness. We want to make people aware 1 out of 8 women will be diagnosed with this illness, and we want to raise awareness. We want people to know that early detection matters, to do their monthly breast exams, and not only women but men as well. Make sure our women are getting their mammograms, and then certainly following through on all of their treatment. And I think for an institution of this size and magnitude and our imprint on the city of Montgomery as well as the state of Alabama and nation, we can certainly be at the forefront to lead this message that this matters.
We're stringing bras together called Bras Across the Field in honor of survivors or whomever of breast cancer. We're also wearing a purple glove because purple is the color for domestic violence. And so we're saying spread love with the purple glove. Rather than raising a fist, raise your hand and spread some love. Alabama State University has a population of a captive audience of students who perpetrate domestic sexual dating and stalking violence. Unfortunately, in our country, 18 to 24-year-olds have the highest incidence of those issues. And so we want to raise awareness with our students that we recognize that this type of violence is going on. We hope they'll come and report. That's my role, is to help them get healthy relationships and to help love one another. So today is just another one of the many things that we do for students to know that we know that DV is popular among them, but it's not natural, it's not normal, and it's not right, and we're here for them.
That's why I love working at a HBCU. We have the ability as administrators to be immersed in the student culture, the student population, as well as in our sport. We cross over a lot because we don't have the staffing. We have to rely on our university constituents. So being able to really have a hand in making this come to life at our game, which everyone knows athletics is the front porch, that's so important for us. This has been a game we've done every year since I've been here. We'll continue to have our domestic violence, breast cancer, and there's even military appreciation today. So we have a lot of themes going on with this being our last and only game in November at home, or October at home.
Really great work there, and we hope the impact is felt across the country. Week 7 has wrapped up, and since we taped this week's show, there's some things that have happened that we'll talk about next weekend, and there'll be a lot to catch up on. I'm sure we're going to talk about the Tuskegee Morehouse Classic next weekend. FAMU and South Carolina State, they played on Saturday. Did FAMU overlook the Bulldogs getting ready for A&T? We'll see. And we're really going to have to dive into Southern versus Prairie View. I know that was a good one. So lots to talk about next weekend, but you can always get the info like right now. You can be the first when you go to hbcugameday.com. We'll have links to all of our content there. And for more streaming content, you can download our apps on Roku and Amazon's Fire TV. For the entire crew here at HBCU Game Day, a lot of great people here. I'm Tali Carr. Thank you for checking us out and hanging out with us. Enjoy your week, and we'll talk to you next weekend right here on the No Huddle. We'll see you later.